Good morning, everyone. How's it going? How's everyone's, Tuesday so far? We've had, happy Tuesday. It's kind of awkward. We had, at least here in the US, we had Memorial Day yesterday, which has been a public holiday. So we've been off for a full day. So it feels like it's Monday, but it's actually Tuesday. I hope you're having a great day so far. It's an exciting week, not only because it's Tuesday and I get to stream and I really enjoy hanging out with you all, but also because it's the virtual ML.NET conference week. Friday kicks off. It's been a lot of fun work together with John and others to get this all set together, but it's really cool that it's coming together, and I can't wait to Friday, honestly. I hope you have checked out the schedule already. I hope you have subscribed to the Twitch channel and the YouTube channel, because like that you will get notified as soon as we go online, and it should be good. And I think we'll do a little teaser this afternoon at about 4 p.m. Eastern time to kind of talk a bit about the workshop with Bree and Louise. So if you want to kind of tune into that as well, you are welcome to do so. But otherwise, I hope to see you on Friday, which should be fun. So, on Saturday, Ravi and I did our second episode of machine learning for .NET developers, which was really fun, and I think Ravi is doing a great job learning and getting up to speed. And today I want to go back to what we were doing last Tuesday, which was working with the MLOps library that we started building. And I really wanted to work on it before, during the week, but just had no time whatsoever this week to do so. So I definitely don't want us to lose any time for that as of yet. Thank you, Louise, for already being a first contributor to the library. That's awesome. If you want to kind of follow Louise's footsteps, please do so. It's just fork the library and start working on it. It should be fun. So, if you remember here, we had this library that we created to go here. Let's see if we can get some music going. And since last Tuesday, what happened is that we started doing the coding and we started playing around with it. And after that, I went to create this repo on my GitHub profile. So you can all contribute if you want to, and you can kind of follow along and read on things we're doing here. So I just added a simple README file here on kind of what we want to do, why we're doing this, and where we're gonna go. But please go ahead and add things to this or open PRs with changes if you think we should go some other way. Because again, I think this is a great opportunity to do this all together, which is what I want to do. But not to recap too much here, what we're trying to do is build an alternative for MLflow for the net. And we want to be able to use it for putting a machine learning model into production, if you will, which should be really fun. And what we did on Tuesday last week was that we created, let me open that up for you. We created our first solution here on our first NuGet package, and what we managed to do was creating an experiment in this set. So experiment is going to hold our machine learning, model in itself, while a run is going to be each training session. So for example, when we had this example before, when we had the review predictor, let me pull it over here. We were creating a review predictor before. An experiment would then be the review predictor experiment. So we have multiple iterations of this model within that space, and each iteration would be its own run. So, wow, I can't spell here. Predictor, D. What we, for example, would do here is we would use this MLOps library to create an experiment, and that's kind of what we did last Tuesday here. And that could hold all its runs. And we get the experiment ID back if it exists or not exists, and then what we want to do here is create a run for this current training, and eventually we want to log metrics, and at some point we also want to check if this model is better than the previous one, and if so we want to log it. So there's some fun stuff we can definitely do there as well. So that should be fun. lots of good stuff going on here, and I can't wait to get started with y'all. Should be fun. But first thing I want to do is I want to go into Azure, and I want us to look at the NoSQL database that we created and the data we got set up. So I'm going to log in here on my idle screen, and I'm going to move it over in just a second here. Let me switch the account here. So for Friday and Saturday, do you have any favorite sessions you're going to join? Anything you're looking forward to? Let's see, we want this one. Okay. I mean, there's so many sessions. I will definitely watch all of them. But let me know if you have a favorite one. It's crazy we have speakers from all over the world. Yes, Liz, all of them. We have speakers from Mexico, the US, Holland, India, Australia, New Zealand. I may probably miss someone here as well, so it should be a really cool time. Okay, so I'm currently in my Azure here, and what happened here is that when we run this first review predictor model that had to use this package here, what happened is that we actually created our experiment table so it didn't exist from the beginning, and we can use the Storage Explorer here on the left to actually check that we actually got something in there. So if we do that, we can see that we got an experiment, and I misspelled it, but we have a review predictor, and I can delete that so we can get a clean slate here. So what we want to end up doing here is we want to add like a run table for each of these trainings, and for each run we want to log metrics at the minimum on like the accuracy, F1 score, all the goodies. Yeah, transfer learning, that's gonna be good. Yeah, I think Luis Beltran has some good talks, and I'm looking forward to that one too. So since last time, I took the liberty of just refactoring a little bit here. So what I did was I added the create run method because it's very similar to what we're doing. So we're creating a run object here. And then what I was doing is I refactored away some of our code here. So I created something called a Metadata Store, and it's just an interface here with some different methods. But the reason why I want to do that is because I want to be able to do this either in Azure or in AWS, or I want to do it on a local drive or something, and I want to just have a common interface for creating these things together. And right now we're only going to focus on Azure because I think that's going to be plenty. And we have these two methods now in this Azure store here. Let me zoom in a bit. And they both do the same thing. The only difference is that you pass in an experiment object or you pass in a run object. But it's a pretty generic method, very simple. We pass in an entity, and in our case it's going to be experiment or run. We're going to get the table for that, and what the get table does is going to create it if it doesn't exist, or it's going to just get the reference to the table if it exists. Let me make it smaller. And after we get the table, we're going to create an insert or merge operation, and we're going to insert or merge that entity given the data. So I just want to kind of show you that. That's just a little cleanup. We can definitely change this up if you want to do some other way. That's just a simple thing. I also refactored away this storage account creation here as well, or getting a reference to the cloud storage account, just so we can have that separately if we need to do that later for something else. Awesome. All right. So what do we need to do now? Well, I went ahead and added some issues here on the repo, so we can all kind of share a common understanding on things you want to do. So if there's something that you want to get started with, or you want to do, definitely add an issue to this. I also encourage discussions. I had a talk with Daniel Costella yesterday and about this as well. And if you have like thoughts or like maybe don't fully understand where to get started, add a comment to these issues and we can have a discussion on them. I think that's the easiest way to do this. But I think what we want to do today to start with is just add support to log metrics, right? But I also want to do some other kind of fun stuff here. Actually, do you have a suggestion? Is there anything specific that you want to start with today? That you're just dying to get started with? This is so much fun. Because I think if there's no like discussions that we need, either we'll start off by doing this, or we'll be doing key value pairs here. I think we'll go ahead and do the key value pairs in that case. I think it's a good start, and it should be pretty straightforward here. So I didn't add any description to this, but what we want to be able to log here is just like accuracy and precision, right? So let's have a try. Let's see if that works. So I'm envisioning two things here. I'm envisioning that we can pass in either key value like a dictionary with metrics, and then later in the future I also want to pass in specific evaluation objects from ML.NET. So if we're doing binary classification, I just want to pass in the evaluation result that comes from that, and it will automatically parse this list and put it into the table. And the same thing in multi-classification and other ML tasks, of course. So we just kind of make it very seamless and simple and easy. So if we follow the same kind of structure as we did before here, we could create a table for that, and I think that makes sense. I'm not a NoSQL guru, so I'm just wondering what structure makes most sense here. Because we can either do is we don't have a separate table for this, and we instead just create a property on the run object here, where we have a list of key value metrics. And what we do here is we pass in the run ID, which we have, and get those runs and add the metrics to it. Or we create another identity and do that. Anyone on the line here with lots of good NoSQL experience that has a suggestion? I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a property instead and just kind of pass it in. I think that makes the most sense. Yeah, okay, let's start at Luis. Right, so I think let's go ahead and do that here. Let's add a new property here. The question is almost, do we want it as a I think it almost makes sense as a list of metrics instead of a dictionary. So we can probably create a metric class here instead. And let's do that, create an entity here called metrics. That should be fun. My hands are freezing today. It's super nice weather here in DC, but I'm in the basement and it's just super cold right now. We're gonna do this internal sealed metrics. So what I was thinking was doing is having a key here. So we'll call it metric name to be less generic here. Metric name, and I think it makes sense to have a. Does it make sense to have a float here or double, or does it make sense to have a string for the value? We have accuracy, we have F1 score, a lot of those kind of things. But we also have like training time probably that we want to log. I think it makes sense to have as a double, just because we probably want to fetch this at some point and then compare it to something. Yeah, I think use floats as well. Alright, we'll do float here. Call this value. We have to think a bit about how we want to do like what's it called? Training time. So if you want to store training time as a metric, that should be something too. I think they use strings, but let's check actually. So they have this mlflow.net library on GitHub. That's a good question, please. Let's have a look at what we can do here. I think you only pass it as a string or a value in its REST API. So I'm not sure if it's going to matter how much we look at this sample. But let's have a look. So if you do metrics here, log parameter, run ID. Yeah, so they're passing as strings here. Which makes sense because it's just a REST API. And that's probably how they store it as well. But does it make sense for us? That I'm not sure. Almost everything we want to store is going to be in numeric form. So I think let's keep it as float right now, just to make sure we're very specific here. And if we need to change this, we'll change this. But it'll be simple to change anyway, because we're using a NoSQL database, and this is just the alpha version anyway. All right. If you completely disagree, scream now. And let's rename this to metrics. Metric. Nice. Perfect. Alright, so we have metrics here now. So we should be good to start thinking about how to do this. And I put my microphone just above my keyboard so I can't see my keys. I am flying blind here, which is fine. So by doing that though, I want to enforce floats here. I don't want us to have strings that will be parsed incorrectly. And the second thing I want to do here as well is I want to pass in the run ID, because we need to fetch the run here when we log the metrics. And I wonder if we even need to do a dictionary here, but we'll try that first. So if we do that, what we need to do then, I guess, is to get the run here. So right now we actually don't want to create a run, we want to add metrics here. So let's create a function here to do so. We want to log metrics, and we'll pass in the run ID. We'll pass in, actually we probably don't want to pass in this, let's pass in a list of metrics instead, and we'll do the transformation outside here. And build spell here. Cool. So how do we fetch metrics here? That's the question. How do we fetch a run with Azure table storage? I don't know, but let's see if we can just find out based on the names of the methods on the table client here. So we'll go ahead and just copy this row here to get a reference to the table clients. And come on, please work. Nice. So we had this get table, well actually there we go, get table reference. So we can get a table pretty simply like that, and we'll just do, I'll do this to get it. So if we have the table reference, we want to be able to get the object, I guess, that we're going to modify here. So we had this operation here that we can do instead of merge. So I wonder if we have another table operation of getting something as well from a table. Is it retrieve, I guess? So we can probably do this. Run, that would be nice. But we're doing a run today. And do we need to fetch, what do we need to pass in here? Partition key and row key, okay, that makes sense. Can we pass in something less than that? Partition key, row key. Okay. So partition key, let's look at that we had here. I think the row ID is definitely one of them. So row key is easy because that's the, okay, so experiment ID and then we didn't do partition key. So why didn't we do that? That's something we should have done for sure here. I think what we do want to do here actually is we want the experiment ID to be the partition key here, and we want the row key to be a new GUID, I think. It looks like that's empty, and we actually want it to be the ID here, and that should be a good one. Sounds good. Awesome. Sounds good. Does it look good for everyone on the stream today? Any suggestions? Anything you disagree on here? Shout it out. Right. So we got that all settled. Go back to where we were before. The ID, we now need both the experiment ID and the run ID to actually fetch the right run here. I would assume. Let me look at that one real quick. I think the best part of ML.net is that you actually get exposed to so much more than machine learning. Like right now we're exposed to Azure Table Storage. It's nothing to do with it, but it's really fun. I'm excited about that. Okay, partition key. So let's do both here. So I wonder. Okay, this is an architectural question here for everyone on the stream. Right now what we're doing is every time we are creating something, we're passing back GUID. So we're passing back the experiment ID and passing back the run ID. Would it make more sense to pass back the run and the experiment here instead? And then when we want to update metrics, we'll just either add them to the metrics and then update them, or we pass back both the run and the metrics. Probably pass back the run and the metrics makes most sense to some degree. Actually, probably makes more sense to not expose these things to the user and just pass back the GUIDs, honestly. Even though it's one more argument to pass back. Thinking out loud after 2 months in quarantine. We'll make it simple for us so we get something working. We'll just do this. We'll do experiment ID here, run ID. Okay. Thank you for keeping me sane, Luis. And company. Thank you, Jonathan, for the follow. That's awesome. You're my, I think, 50th followers. It's a big milestone, honestly. It's, yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for being the 50th follower. Appreciate that very much. And, wow, thank you, Nagas. If you want to get annoyed by me every Tuesday and Saturday, notified on your phone, definitely follow, and I will annoy you saying I'm online. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you for the follow as well. I gotta love the office emoji is my favorite. It just makes me happy every time I see it. I watched the whole show last fall, end to end with my wife. It was awesome. All right, that's awesome. Thank you guys. I appreciate that. So, what's the issue here? GUID. Okay. Do we need? Okay, we need strings here. That makes sense. So we're passing in the partition key right now, and then we're passing in the row key here to fetch an entity of type run. Run. And on this run, we're going to add a metrics so we can log them for our machine learning MLOps operation here. It's going to be cool. And thank you, Jonathan, for a raid. Actually, it's my first raid. I should have a thing for that. or something. Okay, awesome. We are doing that. So anyone who joined now actually from the raid, what we're doing here is we're building an open source solution for an ML flow alternative. It's going to be working for ML.net, so if you're into machine learning.net, you're in the right place. If you want to learn more about that, we talk about this every Tuesday and Saturday. And you should sign up for the conference on Friday, a full day workshop with Bree and Louise, and then full sessions on Saturday. That should be really fun. Alright, so a run. So what we want to do now is we have run and we have metrics. So we want to convert those real quick here. Well, we should have metrics. Say that. So, okay, so we don't get back that one completely generic. It's still a table operation. And of course we need to execute a table operation, otherwise that's not going to work. So we'll do this one right here. And get that working. Nice. And we'll pass in the retrieve operation. Let's call it that. Operation. And the music you listen to right now is Carl Franklin's Music to Code By. I think the song right now is called Ochre something. I just love the guitar solos and the guitar in the background. It's a nice one. Alright, retrieve operation. So this should give us a result, table result. We can then go ahead and do as run here. Actually, let's do that here. And we'll call this run. And no, let's not do that because it's an async method and then we just mess up the syntax. We'll make it pretty. It's gonna be a long method. Cool. So we got to run. Let's add the metrics here. So we'll keep it simple for now. We'll just do this, and the best part of open source is that you can come in and open a PR for anything you think looks ugly, just like Luis did last week when I misspelled things. He corrected that, so it's perfect. All those things is a good way to start as well. So we have a metric now, and we want to just pass them in, and we actually have metrics as a list already because we're going to do that in a step before. So we'll just set metrics here. And then what we'll do here is, I think we can reuse some of the previous code here. So instead of writing this code again, what we'll do is we'll call this insert a merge, and that should be able to return that for us really nicely. And since we have this insert a merge operation here, what we can do is just create a simple one for the same thing, which is like, we can call it retrieve, right? Because I'm sure we'll have to retrieve other things later, so we might as well make this generic before we have to do it later. Call it retrieve entity, and it's going to be a type entity. And interesting, yeah. Actually, we need this. It's going to be partition key, I think, regardless. Partition key, and then we'll need a row key here to fetch the entity. The entity is going to be a type table entity, which is the Cosmos DB entity type. And we will probably just go ahead and copy paste this one here. Pass that in here. Okay, and we'll call this partition key here. And this is going to be row key. Partition. I think that's how you spell it. If I spell it wrong, go ahead and correct it. Hey there, doggy, how's it going? Hope you're having a good Tuesday so far. Okay, so we're going to return this, and we'll go ahead and pass it up here. So now we have stuff here. Now it's going better. So run, and what I will do here is to retrieve entity here. We'll pass it in as a run, and I think we actually make this a bit prettier. Run ID, ta-da! And one thing we can do here is we already have the type here, so we don't need to do this. We can do t-entity here instead, make it a bit more generic, and the same thing here. And we're just gonna have a convention of calling our tables the same as our class names, make it simple for us. And alright, so that should give us a good way of logging metrics like this at least. So let's add this to the interface, and let's then do the code to convert it, and then let's try it, I think. So we have a Metadata Store here. There's an interface for that. We'll pass that in, get some references set up. Awesome. Oop, not what I wanted to do. Quick commands are the best and the worst at the same time. Cool. Alright, so we have that interface. So let's go back to the ML Lifecycle Manager here and get some of these things going here. So this is the main method that we are passing in things to. I actually think, I wonder if it makes sense to have a dictionary now, or if it makes sense to have a list of. No, it makes sense to have a dictionary. Ignore what I'm saying. Still too early in the day. So Yogi, how's your day going so far? Excited about Saturday? Let's see. Pass in experiment ID here. Read experiment ID. So eventually what we want to do here is we want to do this metadata store here, log metrics. Yes, that's what we want to do. Do you all think it makes sense to have like this method being singular, meaning like log metric, or versus log metrics? What do you think would be the use case for either of those or both? Would you, for example, I feel like, I wonder if I personally want to like just call the method with a key value pair each time instead of having to compose a dictionary. I think I actually want to do that. What do y'all think? What would you be doing? One second. I think I want to change that. Yeah. Okay, so let's change that to that. Okay. I think I agree with both of you. I think, yeah, Louise, I think log metrics will be more tedious. But I think we can have, let's start with creating a simple one first, and then let's have an overload for anyone who wants to go crazy here, just to make it simple. So let's do metric name, let's do metric value. And it also makes more explicit that we are expecting a string and a key here. So that should be good. It'll be a quick change anyway. Let's change that. So for anyone who is a NDC conference fan, by the way, as of this weekend as well, Luis and I just got notified that we got accepted to give a workshop for a full day at NDC Melbourne together with Bree on ML.net, which is going to be really awesome. I'm super excited about that. Oh, nice. Nice, Jogi. 2 GitHub sponsors, that's awesome. But yeah, so that's gonna be really cool. You should definitely check out the NDC conferences. They are really, really good quality talks and workshops generally, and so I definitely recommend them. I spoke at NDC London in January, I think. and it was lots of fun. But you all, if you join on Friday, you'll get a sneak peek on the workshop, because I think it's the same workshop that we given, but the half-day version instead. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. Luis, there's no pressure here really. It's just a lot of thought leaders in the world on those conferences, but you know, no pressure. Okay. Metrics. So we'll do this instead down here. We'll do metric, metric name. Value, metric value. And what we'll do here is add this to this collection instead. And I will call it metric, singular. And to make sure we don't get any null ref exceptions here, we're going to initialize this to an empty list here. Just in case it happens to be an issue. Okay, that's good. I like that. I like that a lot. We have log metric now, hopefully. We didn't change that. That should be changed. Let's make it singular. Let's make it async as well. So we're explicit. And there we go, logmetric async, nice. All right, a lot of piping here, I'm sorry for that, but I think we're gonna get to where we want to go now. Metric name, that should do it. So, all right, so what I want to do now is I want to build this, I want to do this NuGet package locally, and I want to try it and make sure that we actually get things working here. But in general right now we should be able to log a metric here. So to build this, what we do is right click here, we'll go on, I think it's called pack here, and we're going to build a local NuGet package for us. And that's going to build a local NuGet package for us, and let's go and have a look where that is. It's going to be under C. Debug, and we're going to put this in my local NuGet store here that I have to make sure we can use that later. Let's open new file explorer here. Let's go straight there. So we have this NuGet package right here, and we're going to go and drop that in my C drive. 1 second here. C drive. I have a local NuGet repository right here, and we're going to replace this one that we have. And we're going to open up the review predictor here for us and see if we can get this working as intended. So we have this simple app here for training a machine learning model for predicting the sentiment of a review, more or less. And this is just so we can kind of test things out a bit in a real case scenario and see how it feels and behaves. And we also have this repo up here on GitHub. For anyone who wants to play around with it, because at the end of the day, what we want to achieve here is that we want to be able to use our actions here. So we have a GitHub action to train our machine learning model and to push it to the container. So we have all this YAML file here. It's very kind of boilerplate thing. You train, you build your models, you build your application, you run it, so you train it, you run some data tests, and you create a Docker image, and you do some fun stuff here. But what we're missing here is that logging metrics session, and what we're hoping to do is doing that as part of our training time here. So we already created this experiment ID here by create experiment. So what we can do now is create a run here. So we'll do await. And actually, let's make sure we can restore this first, because we've just built it, and I think we need to restore this. See if I can build, and maybe that does it. And get us new references. Very nice. Everything passed. Let's see if we have a reference to our new methods in our NuGet package here. And I think I'll rename this ML Flow, ML Lifecycle Manager at some point. Ooh, do you see that, by the way? This is probably not going to... Create table should not be exposed, so let's change that before we forget it. That should be internal. Where do we have that? This whole thing here should be internal. Where was that create table method? Okay, we'll find it later, but we definitely don't want to expose our internals here. That should be something we should close up. Alright, so create run, it's going to take the experiment ID as an input, and we're going to go back to the run ID. So that's awesome. So now we have a run ID here. And oh, okay. Some fixes first here. This is why we're trying this. So it's not awaiting void though. So I think what we need to do here is uninstall the package and install it again, because I don't think it has yeah, it hasn't refreshed our repository yet here. Let me do that real quick by simply doing this. Actually, let's be a bit better than that. Let's create a new version of this package instead, like you would actually do. So we can do that by doing properties. Actually, we're right there. Don't need to do properties. We will call this 001 instead, because this is going to go on for a while, I think. And we'll pack this up, get that going. So for anyone on the line right now, if you're not following me yet and you want to kind of tune in more to machine learning in .NET, and especially working on the MLOps package, feel free to hit that follow button and you will get annoyed by me when I'm live, or at least notified. Error list, outputs, okay. And if you don't want to hear my voice, that's completely understandable too. Do not blame me for it. Okay, perfect. Get a new version here. We'll just remove this one, put that in there. What we'll do then is go in here into the review predictor project, and we'll change this to 001. We'll build that. Hopefully, we'll get our right version for us. And let's comment this out until it's built, so we can restore this. Okay. I think we're having some restore issues here. Why does it not want to do that? We have our trainer products here. Let's go ahead and look at the NuGet repo here for us, just in case we're doing something incorrect here. This was built today, which makes sense, and it's 001, but it's saying I don't have a create experiment method on this one. Because we don't, because it's called async now. Okay, good point. Thank you, Visual Studio, for keeping me up to date. So that means that this one's going to be create async as well, create run async. And let's see what we have here. Okay. If only would I rename things properly. Alright, we'll do that in a bit, but for now I want to try this. So create run, that's great. So let's go ahead and add some metrics here. So we have it run now, an experiment, perfect. So for each time we run this, we should not get a new experiment. That's the thing here. So we have to try and look at that a bit. Let's just think about that for a bit right now. I think we'll change some of the backend code to make sure that's not the case, because I think right now it's going to add a new experiment each time. Let's do it later. But for create run, we want a new run each time it runs it, and I think that's what's going to happen here, and give us a new run ID. But what we want to do now is we want to log these metrics here. So we can do that by doing, I guess, await and ML lifecycle manager log metric, and we'll change that to log metrics, and that should be experiment ID as the partition key, run ID as a row key, and then metric name. So let's do accuracy. For now, let's do this. So let's say we want log accuracy here. It would probably look like something like this here, and it will be metrics accuracy, and it's probably not a float. It's a double. Okay, good. Yeah, I think exactly. I think Lise. I think the SDK is going to do it for us. I don't want it to create a new experiment though all the time. I want it to create only new runs all the time. But we have some things to do here. So we see we have doubles here. We don't have floats for the return result. So let's look at what we have here. All of these things are doubles, so we're getting back doubles, which I like. So let's change that and make some adjustments on the back here. But I think otherwise it kind of feels pretty nice, honestly, to do this. So I like it pretty well so far. So let's do some quick adjustments and go back. First we're going to do is call these things what they actually are, async methods. We're going to do log metric async, and we are going to pass in a double. We're going to log metric async, it's going to be a double, not a float. We're going to fix this one also. And let's see. Perfect. And we'll do this one, and then we're done here. Great. So one thing we want to fix as well when we're in this code, so we don't have to rebuild all the time, is the fact that we're probably going to create a new experiment all the time here. So we see we do insert or merge, and the only thing I'm worried about here is that I think we'll create a new one all the time. And the reason why I think that's the case is because if you look at where this is created here, we're creating a new experiment here based on a name. And what I think we should be doing here is actually retrieving that based on the name, if possible. And I wonder how we do that. Because otherwise it's going to have a new partition key and a row key, and it will create it. But let's see how that works first. Actually, let's not go and make too many changes here until we have a try. Let's switch this to 2. Let's build this and pack it up. And what I'm going to do right now to make life easier for us, so we don't have to do this all the time, so I'm going to go and change my local NuGet source to look at this specific folder, so I don't need to copy and paste things over all the time, because that's going to take away time from things I want to do. So we have in our local folder, we can expect our packages to end up here for now, and that's okay. So we'll change my local source here to a specific folder instead. That makes life easier for us. We will switch this to 2 now, and that should make me at least be able to pull it down and then change of the method names here. So we'll do async here, log metrics async, metric. Look at that. It builds, I think. It builds. It's alive. Let's see. Okay, so awesome. So now it builds. So let's run this and let's see if we actually get something in Azure, and let's see if it works. So if I run this, what I'm passing in here is my connection string to the storage account in Azure. That's all I'm passing in here. So if you run this, let's see how this works. Okay. So we're going to debug it real quick here. So hopefully that won't break. Okay, seems good. Run ID. It's been created as well. Nice. So we are loading our data into memory. We're doing a split here into test and train data. We are creating our data processing pipelines. We're featureizing the review text here, creating our features vector, and using a logistic regression algorithm here for training. So we're creating our training pipeline, and we are going to start training our model here during fit using our train set. And this is going to take not too long, I think. It's a small data set, but longer than the rest, because that's actually where things are happening for anyone that haven't tried MLNet yet. But that should be finished in a short amount of time. There we go. So now we're getting to the metrics here. So we have the metrics here. And the accuracy is currently 95%ish. So let's see if we can store that here. Let's blow up. Let's see. It's taking a long time. Much longer than I thought it would take for a simple metric. That's interesting. It's still running. So I don't think I have an exception yet. But there we go. Okay, so generic type must provide a default parameterless constructor. Okay, so didn't like that I passed in run, I think, like that. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Okay, so it did obviously not like some part of our code here, and I think it doesn't like this part right here, retrieve entity. It didn't like this because run doesn't have an empty constructor. Okay, but I do think it does. Oh, it doesn't have that. Okay, but that we can create. If that's the only thing it's missing, I'm happy to do that. Let's actually do it like this. Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you all for joining in today so far. I'm having a good time with y'all. I hope you're having a good time as well. Hope you're following along with the things I'm doing here. And if you have any questions on what we're doing, or like in general on this library, or anything related to MLNet, don't be afraid to just put it in the chat room or ask me later. Happy to answer those. And I really want us to see if we can build this thing together. So if you want to contribute to this open source library, you are more than welcome to do so. And yeah, that'd be awesome. I want us to create a good, useful package here. I think we definitely need this in the community so we can actually bring our models to production. Okay. That's changed. Alright. So we should be able to run it again now. Let's build it. We should be able to run this again and make this work. So if we put breakpoint at a metrics one here, let this run by itself here. It's going to train a machine learning model, and hopefully it's going to log these metrics for us. And that would be fantastic. And here's the command prompt for what we're viewing. And let me change the music while we do that. Maybe. It's okay. Alright, so... Oh, look at that. Okay, it didn't blow up at least. That's good. So let's see now. Let's go to Azure and see if we actually got something saved here. And if we got some data. So let's refresh this if possible. Do we have a refresh button? Refresh, okay. Okay, we got... Oh, that's not good. Alright. No data available in this table. So, alright, so we definitely have a naming issue here. I can definitely do that if you want to, Jushu. I can definitely push these changes if you want to play around with yourself. That's a good point, actually. The only issue, I guess, with that is that that I'm just using this as a local NuGet repository yet, so you won't be able to pull this for yourself. But what we could do as well later today, if you wanted to, is update this NuGet package to nuget.org, even though it's an alpha version, so that that build won't break. I think that would make sense, at least. We have to think a bit about how we're going to do this, because we do want the connection string to be passed in as well. Alright, so I seem to be not using the name properly here. Run date. And that's not good. So let's look at the code and see where I'm messing up here. I think that what I'm doing here is I am doing violence on the generic method that I thought I was so smart at creating, and I don't think I was so smart at creating that one. So I think this is the issue here. So can I get type here? Type off. What's the way of getting the name of the type here? Because obviously I was getting the name of the entity, and that's not useful. Because I don't want to pass in the name here as well. That'd be annoying. Let's see, can I get the type of the generic one here? What was the issue with this? Got any good gurus on the line for this? Then definitely help. Feel free to help. Let's see. Type. Why is this not working? Okay. Doesn't seem to be an issue. Huh. Why is that not working? Okay, I think this is going to work, but thanks, Luis. Let me check that real quick. I think what we're doing here is going to work, but okay, well, we can try that as well. Yeah, I think we have to just kind of try this what we're doing above here. Or can we do this? T entity get type. Okay. Alright, we'll try the type variable for now, and we'll kind of see if that works, or if not, and then we'll... Because yeah, I thought like that would work as well, but it doesn't seem to. I don't think the generic one is working properly here. So let's just do type off here. Okay, let's try that. We'll do this though, and we'll make sure we have it for both here. Insert a merge, because we have a retrieve entity. And we want to make sure that this works as well. And otherwise it won't fetch the right table. Okay. Perfect. So I think that's going to be working slightly better, at least, hopefully. And let's go ahead and pack this up, and then clean up in Ash before we start doing this again. Actually, let's change the version here first. Let's make this version 4, I think. Let's pack this up. While waiting for that to pack up, this takes like 2 milliseconds, but still. Let's delete these to get a fresh, clean slate here. Okay. And we'll go ahead and pull this in by changing this to version 4. We'll run this and hopefully we'll get something better this time. Should be good. Oh, I can't believe it's already 11 o'clock. Time flies. Well, we're learning something new about cloud storage in a storage container right now, or storage account in Azure. It's always fun. So it's running the training. Okay. All right. Let's have a look now in Azure and see if it's any better. Ah, Jesus. Okay, I'm going crazy. I'm just gonna pass in the name of those tables now because this is ridiculous. This is taking way too much time. Well, I mean, I guess it's right. It's the type. It's the name of type, right? So I think I'm just. Of course, it's gonna do that. Why am I not thinking of that? All right. Let's do this. That is so funny. Alright. Let's pass in table name here. Let's make it easy for us. And we will, if anyone wants to improve this solution, that you are more than welcome to do that by contributing to repo. But to make sure we keep moving here, I'm going to make this simple for us. Because I don't want to get stuck on these things. Alright. So we'll do here is this should work. This really should work. And if it doesn't, then I'm really disappointed. Experiment. Create run sync. That should be that. Okay, and there's one more I think here. Metric. Okay. You know what? Let's try that. We can only fail, and failing is okay. It's not the whole world. When you fail, you learn. If you don't fail, you don't learn. And that's no fun. Okay, build that one. We should probably create some good unit tests as well for this. Especially doing all these faults here. That would be useful. Ooh, let's quickly do that before it's too late. Delete. Well, not that it matters too much. Alright. Fingers crossed, guys. Fingers crossed. Let's get this going here. Okay, I have to look at that one. Thanks, Liz. So you're suggesting a workaround here. Let's look at what you sent here. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. Let's look at that one a bit later, but I think that's definitely an improvement we can do here. For sure. Alright. Let's see. Do we get what we want now? Fingers crossed. 2 tables. Promising. Experiment and run. And they are named, not a type. In the first one we have review predictor. Perfect. We have a timestamp here. And that's good. I'm hoping we have something fun in a run here. Okay. So tables look better. But one thing I'm missing here is the metrics. So I'm expecting to see a metrics column here. Because now we have the partition key should be the same as experiment ID, and it is. And row key should be a new one, that's run ID. But I'm not seeing, and I'm seeing run date, which is good. But I'm not seeing the list of metrics, which surprises me a bit. Because I would have expected to see that, even though it's empty. So I'm wondering if I'm making assumptions on how NoSQL table is working or if I'm not calling this properly here. So log metric async, passing in that. We're retrieving the entity. We're adding a metric here. And I would expect this one then to add it to this as well. And even if I didn't, I expect this one to have a table here, honestly, or a property in general, because I mean we see in Azure here we have a column for run date and everything else. So I'm surprised that we don't get one for this. So let's Google that real quick here. So Cosmos DB column for lists or something like that. We may want to annotate it with something, I think. Okay. What are we missing here? List of objects, table entity, Cosmos DB. See who finds it first here. Alright, let's read up on this and see if we are just doing violence on this, because we have our container and that's all good. This is not what I wanted to look at, and that's okay too. Yeah, that's a good point. Let's do that. So the one we're using here, let's check the SDK here. Packages, sorry. Azure Cosmos table. Docs. So I'm kind of curious about the table entity here. So we have these cloud table here, but let's look at the table entity first here and see if there's something we're missing here. Timestamps. Read entity, write entity. Okay. What am I missing? What am I missing? I'm definitely missing something here, but I feel like it's very basic, which is annoying. Because I think it's has to do with just like fundamental structure of this table. But I feel like you should definitely be able to have this. Execute. Alright, gonna search for it. Adding a list to table entity Cosmos T doesn't work. Always ask for does not work and you'll find something useful. Okay, Stack Overflow, please save me. So table entity, this is okay. And this example here, we do have a dictionary. That's going to be ignored. Okay. Huh. Interesting. Azure Storage Tables next support array, list, or dictionary as an entity property. Let me check that in just a bit, please. So that's interesting. So what it's saying is that we probably can't do this structure. table entities, and let's make sure we are in the right place here. They're case sensitive, of course. Table entities properties. Property names are case sensitive. Or case sensitive, yes. Property limitations. You can have 255 properties, 3 system properties. Okay. Let's have a look here what we are allowed to do and not allowed to do. Property types. Okay, so we have all those ones, but we don't have a list here. Okay. Okay. That is good. That's good to know. I mean, Luis, do you and anyone else on the stream as well, do you agree that that's probably the issue here? That that we're not adhering to the OData standards here? So we probably would have to create an own table instead for this. I think that's probably what we need to do here. And just to follow up on your question, Lee, as well here. I think we're adding it properly, it just doesn't want to store it there. Okay, yep. Okay, that's awesome. That's a good, I mean, we learned something new here. I did not know that. But that makes sense. Well, I guess it does make sense, but it's useful to know, at least. Alright. So with that, let's go ahead and create a different structure instead. So we already have a metric class here. We'll just call it a table entity instead. And what we'll do here is we will do a metric, and we need to set the partition key here. So I think partition key here is going to be the same as the run ID, because we do want to associate it with the run ID. Good. Let's call it run ID to make sure that makes sense. The question now is what's the... So if you want to find this one later, what's the row ID it's going to be here? I think we're just going to create a new one here instead. Let's call this an ID here. Actually, the row ID is going to be metric name here, because for a run, we can only have specific... We should have only one accuracy per run. So it would make sense if we made a row key here, the metric name. And let's pass that actually in here in the constructor. So let's set all of these things in the constructor instead. Since it's pretty simple as well, let's set that on as well. Just to kind of finalize this one here. It's going to be double value. Okay. Oop. Sorry. Again, hotkeys are just usable for a little bit. Okay, so cool. We have that. And remind me to change the hotkeys from Control Shift and Control Tab here. So now we want to set these properly on this instead here. So we have the same kind of piping structure, there's no change to that really. But what we want to do here is definitely change how we set these metrics. So we don't need to retrieve the entity anymore, because there's just no need for that. And we also don't need to get the experiment ID, because we only need a run ID from now on. So we're going to go ahead and change those ones. And that makes more sense to me, honestly. I don't want to pass down so much stuff all the time. And run ID would have been too much. Or sorry, the experiment ID would be too much. So we'll do that. And then we'll go ahead and do this. And we'll change the stuff here. Okay. So we'll create a new metric, and we will pass in these things to this constructor instead. So it'll be run ID, and it'll be metric name, and metric value. And instead, we'll just do this. And since for every other occasion here, what we've done is we created the metric outside, and then pass it in, or the entity outside. We'll do the same thing here. So what we're going to do is we're going to create it here, just like we do for runs, and we'll pass it in just to kind of be concise when it comes to, consistent when it comes to our structure on doing this. And there's no need to return anything. We don't really need the handle for that, which is fine. So we'll skip that. But we'll do a metric. And that looks actually much better. So I'm happy with doing this change here. And we'll do metric. And change this to metric. And we'll go ahead and pass in the metric. Cool. That is almost done. But we should not pass back a run here, so we'll skip that because we don't need that handle. There's no need for that. And we'll go ahead and change this. There's really no need to pass this back. Let's see what it's doing. We don't need to return anything, just do that. Alright, I think we are in a better place now. I think if we do this, we should hopefully get some good result here. So user 2, you're asking, would using table entity as the base class in entities restrict extending those entities as models for other storage options? That is a very good question, and it probably will. And it's probably something we have to fix in the future. Because as you said, like, yeah, if you do like in SQL database for local storage, for example, we'd of course have to have maybe another entity here. So that's probably has to be something we look at later. Maybe we have multiple types of entities for different storage types and so forth. I think that's probably what we're going to do anyway, because the construction will be different. So what I'm envisioning anyway here, it's good segue, is that we probably will have an mlops.net local SQL Server package that will focus on the SQL Server, maybe local storage, for example. And we'll have a separate one for mlops.net Azure, which will focus on storing it in a storage container. So I think we probably will end up having separate implementations of these things there, but we'll share the same kind of operation contract for how we store metadata. So, but that's up for discussion, of course. And I would love your input on this as well, on what you think is most useful. Alright, let's build this one. Pack. And try it. Before we try it, let's go ahead and clean up in Azure. That's not the right tab. Let's delete these two. And let's run it by changing this one to 5. Is it 6 now, I think? Version 6. Let's see, I think it was version 6. Yep, okay. Let's run this and see how it does. And of course, I think we changed some of the methods. Yeah, we don't pass in this anymore. Just passing the run ID. So no need to do that. A little bit cleaner, that's good. It's always a good thing. So let's make that run a bit and see how this works. Should be good. Should be good. So for all those joining the stream today, where are you located? Where in the world are you? Anyone outside of the US and India? I know, Yogi, you're in India. Any other country represented? Let's see here. Refresh. Look at that. Ta-da! Accuracy and timestamp and the value. Pretty nice, guys. I mean, it took longer than I thought to get to this point here, but at least we have 3 tables now, and we are storing things in some kind of sense here. And the metric here, the row key, partition key, Row key is accuracy, which is the name. Partition key links back to our run here, which is the same one. Okay, yeah, sorry, row key. Yes, row key is tying metric and run together. So that's good. So I think what I'm going to do is open a PR here at least, so we can look at that process as well, because now we have something that is, I think it's a good PR. We are allowing someone to add metrics, which is in itself is a good thing. It's something that has tangible value. So let's open a PR against a repo for this. Where did you go, GitHub desktop? There you are. Alright, so let's ignore some files here. So I'm going to create a new branch. I'm going to try to be good here, and instead of just pushing straight to the real branch, I'll try to behave, guys, since I want you all to contribute as well. I won't push directly to master. Let's see, envelopes.net. This is the repo, right? And I think I have an issue for this, and this is the one we looked at today. So issue number 1, add support log metrics using key value pairs. So I'm going to name it issue 1. You are, free to name your branches whatever way you want. But I'm going to do this. Add log metric method. I'll bring my changes over. I have to try the new way we can do this in. We're never going to want to do this anyway, so let's ignore all NuGet packages. I want to try the new experience, by the way, in Visual Studio for Git. That's probably pretty cool. Okay, we got a metric class. We got a run class here. We've made some small changes in our lifecycle manager here. So we did async, and we added the log metric async method here. And we bumped up the version of this to that. That's fine. We also don't want to ever check in nuke specs, so that's fine. And what is this? Okay, we can ignore that. We updated our contract, our interface, and we did some changes to the metadata store here by adding a new method and some other fun stuff here. So add the support to log metrics. And if you push that up, we can open a PR for this. Let's see, John. What did you? Oh, okay. So you want to add a generic gitignore file with the basic stuff? Is that what you're trying to do? Which is great. Maybe we should just use this one later. Nice. I guess that's going to. Nice. Okay, I like this. Let's open a PR for this, John, with this gitignore file to have it 2 separate ones. Jonathan, thank you, Jonathan. Let's open up a PR first with these changes, and then go ahead and update the gitignore file. I like any simplicity we can have. Thank you for that. Okay, enhancement. So we'll do fixes issue 1 here. Will be pretty simple when it comes to what we need to change here. Probably should add more description here, which is fine. And right now we don't have any CI. We should set up the builds here for this for sure. That would be good. That could be another part we should do here. But let's look at this PR. I'm going to review it myself. If you want to start contributing to this repo, I'll make you contributors so you can make code reviews as well. Just so you know. And we kind of looked at this already. Looks good. So let's merge this one. Nice. All right, good, awesome, guys. We got our first PR in here and got that working. I want to do 2 things. I want to go ahead and update the gitignore file, I think, and I also want to see if we can set up a simple CI here, so at least we have some builds going when we get PRs up. So let's look at what you sent, Jonathan. I think that's a good start. And you sent. I'll open that again. I think I opened it in Edge here. Let's view it raw. Let's change this up. And let's see if we can just change this real quick here. Okay. It's a great suggestion, Jonathan. Thank you for that. It's something we'll just simplify when a lot of people contribute as well. Call it update git ignore standard. Propose file change. Studio templates. Okay, we'll label this as an enhancement and create a pull request. And I'm just going to merge this in. So if you want to contribute to a repo, what you want to do is you want to go ahead and fork the repo to your local repo, and then you can kind of work on that yourself and create branches. And once you have a branch that looks good to you with a change, you can just open a PR from that fork branch to the master branch here. And I'll get a notification, then we can review it and get it merged for you. Alright, nice. So let's go ahead and add a GitHub action here to make sure we just can get like a simple build when this is done, so we don't merge something that's broken. So let's do a simple .NET Core GitHub action here with a workflow to just build this application. And we will do master branch, we do PRs as well, perfect. And we have to make sure we find the right folder, and not to spend time doing that forever. Let's look at what I did on the other repo I have. So we're gonna go into the right place. Where did I go? Repositories. So I already have one here. And I just want the path here. So don't want to spend any time trying to figure out where it is. So we want to build. Okay, so it's okay, good. So it's the folder and then it's the project that we want to build. That makes sense. I am a member of the .NET Foundation. I'm not I guess part of it, but I'm a member, which you can also become, I think, if you wanted to. You can apply for membership. So Jonathan asked how it is being a part of the .NET Foundation. I mean, it's great, I will say. You get a lot of emails with updates, you get newsletters on upcoming conferences and upcoming work that's being done. You get to contribute to a lot of cool stuff if you wanted to. I honestly don't invest enough time that I want to do, but I really like the initiative, so I contribute with I think $100 a year to the foundation, and I'm a member and proud member. But yeah, I think it's awesome. They're doing a lot of really good stuff, so you definitely should check them out if you wanted to. In addition to being a member, I'm also a Microsoft MVP, so they kind of I get a lot of the kind of same information, I think, from both sources there. All right, so let's look at doing this for us. So let's look at which project we want to build here. So we go back to repo here, make sure we get the right path. We want to go into mlops.net here, and we want to build that. And then we want to go into this one, and we want to build this project here. Perfect. And that should be good. And we don't want to do any tests right now because we don't have any tests. I'm sorry about that. And hopefully at some point we'll get tests working as well. So Jonathan, where are you? In the US or somewhere else in the world? Okay, perfect. Let's see if this works here. Commits. Oh, nice. London. I was there in January actually. That was I really enjoy being in London. I've been there twice last 6 months, I guess. Last year. How are y'all doing right now with the virus outbreak? Okay, let's see if this works. Thank you for the follow, Bandit Dave. I like your name as well. Alright, dependency didn't work. Let's see. Yeah. We're good. I'm in Arlington, Virginia, and we have like a stay-at-home order, so we are allowed to go to the supermarkets and run exercise, but not to go to work or anything else if you don't have an essential work function. I'm not very essential, so I work from home, which is fine, and I like it. Let me see what's going on here. I think what's happening here is that we don't have the right path to the folder, and I was trying to avoid having that issue. Oh, is it just because I did backslash and then forward slash? Let's try that real quick. Let's edit this workflow file. Let's go back to that. So I think, let's see if, I hope it's not this easy, but it probably is this easy. Okay, let's try that. Should be working, hopefully. So in London, I guess it's like 5 hours, I think, difference. Probably should be like 5 PM right now in London or something like that. Or 4:30 PM, I guess. I think I'm speaking at a London meetup, I think, next week. Or I know I'm speaking, just don't know it's in London. It's the IO Associates .NET meetup. I'm giving an introductory talk to ML.NET, and that's more in like real in-depth on machine learning in C# and building our own models from scratch. Not so much on this specific niche here. Should definitely sign up and check it out if you want to learn more about that. Nice. Alright, so we got our CI pipeline working. So every time anyone opens up a PR now, you will at least get this build and working, so that's great. So we'll make sure we don't merge anything that's faulty. Nice. Alright, so I think I want to stop at this point today, because I do need to go back to my real work and do that. But I think what I want to do next time is I want to start creating a separate package here for the Azure work. So what I'm thinking of to do here is on these packages here. Right now we want to have one package, but I would like to have is mlops.net.azure for the Azure version, and then eventually an mlops.net local.sql server, for example, for if you want to do like file share and SQL server locally or something like that. And then instead of passing in a connection string into our ML lifecycle manager here for the storage account, I would like to create like an extension method instead in the Azure package. So like use Azure storage and pass it in instead, and that would be responsible for instantiating this metadata store, whether that's Azure or something else. So if anyone wants to try that before next time, feel free to kind of pick that issue up as well, and that will be this one right here. Some other kind of fun stuff we want to do as well is to log the model. So what I want to do here is that instead of just logging the data here in Azure, which we have here, I think. Let's see if we can get to that place. Instead of just logging the data in the metrics, what I want to do as well is I want to log the models in the blob container. So I want like a blob container with the same name as experiment, or like the same GUID, whatever makes most sense. And under that experiment, I would like maybe a same separation for like run, and then I will store the run models there. So the idea here is that as soon as we have completed this training here and we have started logging metrics, if we want to save it, and there's a big if here, if we then want to store this model as an artifact somewhere, which I think will be a cool thing to do. And then at some point here, we also want to be able to compare our models with something else to make sure if this model is better or not than what we already have stored. Excuse me. And if so, we want to maybe just abort, because there's no point of storing tons and tons of models if we actually don't want to use them, if we already know they're going to be worse than what we already have, right? So it should be good. Cool. I'm glad to hear that, Bandit Dave. If you ever want suggestions on people to speak, or if you want me to speak, let me know. We have a great community when it comes to ML.net out there. We have good speakers for the virtual ML.net conference on Friday and Saturday. So let me do some prompts for that right now. Vert. Let's see. So on Friday and Saturday, for those who hasn't signed up yet, we have this virtual ML.net community conference. And it's going to be live streamed on Twitch, of course, and YouTube. And we have some awesome speakers here from the community that are going to do some awesome talks. So any of these, I think, are, of course, fantastic speakers for any meetup. I'm happy to speak as well, of course. But there are also many, many more that we couldn't fit into the conference that has some great talks on this topic. So definitely check this out and reach out to any of them if you want to. And also register and join the Slack community. And that's something I also want to mention before I sign off today, is that if you want to join the conference, or if you just want to hang out with people and talk about ML.net, go ahead and join the community Slack that we have created. And I'm going to see if I can find that tweet I wrote about that. So you get the link here. Here we go. Okay, that's not what I want. Let me share this link in this tweet in the chat. So if you want to join the Slack community, you can just follow along here and do that. I'm hoping what we can do later is after the conference is done, we're going to kind of convert this Slack community to like a community channel for anyone that is enjoying ML.net, and you can ask questions and kind of do those kind of things there. So that should be fun. Awesome, guys. Well, this was very productive, at least. I think we got somewhere with a tool that's really encouraging. I hope I have inspired some people to start contributing as well. If you have any questions now or later, just reach out to me on Twitter or LinkedIn or anywhere you want to, and I'm more than happy to answer those questions for you. So just let me know. Anyone with any questions for this SDK right now, or ML in general, that I can help with? If not, then if you liked what you saw today, or if you liked what you saw today, definitely hit that follow button. I would much appreciate that. Please share this Twitch stream with anyone that may be interested in ML.net. I only talk about ML.net. I'm very niched, but I love the library so much. So if you want to follow along and see things that I'm building these things, definitely do so. And again, me and a community peer, Ravi, every Saturday, we do machine learning for .NET developers, starting from the basics and build up. So if you want to join that stream on Saturdays, that's also a good way of getting familiar with ML.net from the ground up as well. So I recommend that. All right, well, everyone, thank you so much for joining in today. I really appreciate that. I had an awesome time as always. I hope to see you next time, and I hope to see you on Friday and Saturday. Thank you all.